What is going on, everybody? It is Big L here, and today I am bringing you our Week 2 team builder and battle for Season 8 of the WPF Gyarados League. This week we are playing Coach Critic and his West Texas Torterras. His team's on the screen in front of you, and it's super scary. Let's just get right into it. He's got Zeraora, Mega Gallade, Mandibuzz, Chandelure, Ribombee, Excadrill, Slowking, Gigalith, Weezing, Alolan Exeggutor, and Miltank. So first impressions when I saw the team is, Zeraora and Mega Gallade are huge threats. So is Excadrill and Sand. Mandibuzz can be hard to break. Slowking can be hard to break. Miltank can be hard to break. So he's got a lot of tough things. He's got a lot of tough things to break. A lot of strong physical attackers. And also, Chandelure, with a Calm Mind set or a Spec set, can be really, really tough to deal with, tough to switch in on. So, same with Ribombee. Ribombee with a pair of Choice Specs is fast, hits really hard with Fairy and Bug Stabs. But the six that I was expecting before the match were these six right here. Were Zeraora, Mega Gallade, Mandibuzz, Excadrill, Slowking, and Gigalith. I thought Gigalith needed to come because I thought he would really want to get the speed boost from Sand Rush on Excadrill. If Gigalith doesn't come, I was immediately going to assume that Excadrill was Scarfed. But the only two Pokemon I didn't really do that many calcs for were Alolan Exeggutor and Ribombee. Alolan Exeggutor was really the only Pokemon that I was like, you know what, I really, really don't think this is coming at all. Because if he brought Mandibuzz, then that would probably be his defogger, and then Ribombee also gets defog. But we'll just jump into my team and we'll see how I prepared for it. And this is my team that I'm bringing this week. We've got Zach, the Mamoswine, going back to OG Power Rangers, the original Black Ranger. He's got Jolly Nature, 248 speed with a Choice Scarf. That is to outspeed max speed Jolly Zeraora. I need almost all my speed to do that, which is kind of a bummer, but I like having the fastest thing on the field, and he doesn't switch into Ground Stab that well, outside of, Weezing with Levitate, and Mandibuzz, but Mandibuzz is weak to Ice, so he's not going to want to switch into an Icicle Crash if I can predict that switch, and I've got Earthquake, Icicle Crash, Knockoff, and Stealth Rocks. Stealth Rocks are there because I didn't want Ice Shard because I didn't figure it made much sense on a Choice Scarf set. I'm going to be planning on outspeeding things. I didn't really feel like I needed the priority move. And I just couldn't think of a better fourth move, so I just went with Stealth Rocks. Maybe I get an opportunity to get them up, maybe I don't. If I do, that's great. If not, oh well, that's fine too. Next up is the Space Potato again, Deoxys Defense. This is the standard set. I'm probably going to bring it most weeks on this guy. It's max HP, max defense, bold with leftovers. We've got Teleport, Recover, Seismic Toss, and Spikes. I went with Seismic Toss this week over Nightshade so I could hit the Miltank. I figured I wasn't going to be staying in on Chandelure anyway, so I figured being able to touch the Miltank instead of being able to touch the Chandelure made more sense. So nothing really to talk about much there. That's a pretty standard Deoxys set. Spikes, if I can get a chance to get up Spikes, it'd be great. If not, oh well, it's fine. Next up is Mavis, the Mega Diancie. 60 HP this week. That enables me to live a close combat 100% of the time from Mega Gallade if it's Jolly, which it should be. It speed ties two of my faster mons in Alolan Raichu and Diancie. So I'm figuring it's probably going to be Jolly. So that HP investment lets me live a close combat from it. 196 special attack, which doesn't really deprive me of a KO on anything that I'm not already expecting to get. And 252 speed. We have Psychic for the Weezing, Moonblast and Diamond Storm just for good stab, and Earth Power. Earth Power is for the Excadrill, for the Chandelure, so is Diamond Storm, but if he wants to switch that in, that's fine. I didn't want to give Mystical Fire and give it a Flash Fire boost. And then next up we have Frankie. Frankie has taken a break from the Straw Hat Pirates, come to join us. Gonna hang out, help us out for a season. Max HP, max attack, adamant. Nothing crazy about that spread. Double Iron Bash, Earthquake, Sub, and Toxic. Double Iron Bash and Earthquake, 2-hit KOs pretty much everything on his team, so I didn't really feel a need to run an extra move. Like, I could have run, Ice Punch for like Mandibuzz or maybe the Alolan Exeggutor, like especially the Alolan Exeggutor, but Double Iron Bash already 2-hit KOs that. So I was like, you know what, why not run sub? If I get myself in a really good position, I can go ahead and sub. And Toxic with Leftovers, I thought really hard about bringing Lumberry instead of Leftovers. That way I could feel more safe trying to maybe sub up in front of the Weezing, in case it tried to go for a Will-O-Wisp or something on me. But we just thought Leftovers would just work better at the end of the day. And then next up is Stremord, the Silvally. Silvally Grass, he ain't got no type. Remember, he's flying last week, Grass this week. Max HP, 152 defense, 104 Spadef. The 104 Spadef is there because it lets me live a Fire Blast from anything but a Specs Chandelure. So I figured that'd be nice if I get like maybe stay and get a Thunder Wave off on it, maybe get a Parting Shot off on it. But we are Parting Shot, Defog, Thunder Wave, multi-attack. Was kind of torn on what to run for the last move. We just decided on multi-attack just because, hey, it's probably just the strongest thing to hit everything with, unless he brought Sap Sipper on Miltank, which I guess is a possibility. But even then, a Thunder Wave is nice to have on that, and I could just Parting Shot out the following turn. And with that defense investment, I can still eat hits from Excadrill, so if I need to. And last but not least is Jitterbug, the Araquanid. We have max HP, 92 defense, and 164 Spadef. Careful. The 92 defense, I live a Plasma Fist from Jolly Zeraora every time with that investment. So if I want to stay in and get off a nice lunge on it to lower its attack, or if I just want to get Toxic off on it if it's bulk up, if it tries to bulk up on me whenever I know I can live, that'd be nice too. I forgot to change this. I actually went with Scald over Liquidation. Just figured that would be an easier way for me to maybe deal with the Weezing, which I thought would be a really good, like, the main switch in for this would be the Weezing. And so, since Weezing has literally 0 special defense, you know, Liquidation might be a 2-hit KO on it, depending on the rolls I get. Lunge, again, that's there if I can, you know, maybe lower the attack of the Zeraora, maybe the Excadrill, maybe the Gallade if I get a chance, that'd be great. And Sticky Web, if I can get those up, that'd be fantastic. Webs look really, really good against his team. Being able to slow that Zeraora down, the Mega Gallade down, even being able to maybe slow that Excadrill and Sand down a little bit. I still don't think my Mamoswine outspeeds it, but he may just be running enough speed on it to outspeed certain things in the sand. And then Toxic, just again, I couldn't think of a better fourth move. And shout outs to T4U, who helps me pretty much every week anyway. And then I had to dig a little bit, you know, Critic and TRT are boys. So TRT normally helps me out, but he's one of the Critic's boys, so he was helping Critic this week. So I had to dig a little deep. I had to reach out to a few other people. Big Shane helped me out a little bit this week. Lucky helped me out a little bit this week, and so did TRK. So shout outs to those guys for helping me put this squad together. And we're gonna jump right into the battle, and I will see you guys in a second. Gonna get my screen right, and we'll hop right back in. See you in a second. Alright guys, so here we are at the battle, and as you can see, he brought Alolan Exeggutor, Slowking, Weezing, Ribombee, Excadrill, and Mega Gallade. Not really what I was expecting at all, to be honest. I definitely wasn't expecting the Alolan Exeggutor, and I wasn't really expecting the Ribombee that much. Everything else I was kind of expecting. Not seeing Gigalith made me think that this Excadrill was most likely Scarfed. But as you can see, I brought Mamoswine, Deoxys, Mega Diancie, Melmetal, Silvally, and Araquanid. Looking at team preview, I hate not knowing my lead. I was talking to Big Shane about it maybe 10 minutes before the game started. That if I didn't see Chandelure, I think I'm going to lead Deoxys. And I didn't see Chandelure, so I was like, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to lead Deoxys, and we'll see how it works for me. As he decides to lead Mega Gallade, which I thought was kind of an odd lead for him. I mean, it makes sense. It's very, very threatening. And he can get his Mega off real quick, and if I lead something like, I don't know, like a Mamoswine, which is something I was considering leading as well, then he can threaten it out with, close combat, and he can maybe get a free bulk up or swords dance off. I'm going to take a drink real quick. But turn one, I'm like, you know what? There's not really anything this thing can do to me. A knockoff only does about 45 to maybe 50%, and I can just recover that damage off the following turn. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'll take some damage off on this thing if he's going to give it to me, and I'm going to go ahead and go for a seismic toss. And that's exactly what happens. He goes for the Mega Evolution, and he decides to try to sub up right in my face as I go for the seismic toss and break that sub. That tells me that he's most likely sub bulk up, which is a good set on Mega Metacham. But, like I said, I'll take damage off on this thing every chance I get. That makes it that much easier for Mamoswine to potentially come in and revenge kill if I need to later. So here, he decides to just go ahead and go for the knockoff. It does the 44%, knocks off my leftovers, which is kind of a bummer. But I get some nice damage off, and 2 turns in, this Mega Metacham is really, really weakened. And here, I just decide, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and recover up because I know there's nothing he can do to knock me out. He goes out into Slowking. Here, I'm just like, you know what, I'll take some free damage off on this too. I'll go for the seismic toss. And we see these Rocky Helmet, which I definitely didn't expect. I thought this thing would be more specially defensive. But seeing the Rocky Helmet means that it is most likely his physical wall, which if you look at his team, I would think Wheezing would be his more physical wall. But maybe that just means he was that scared of my physical attackers. So Slowking is his physical wall, and he goes out and teleports out into the Rebombi. Now here, I'm just like, I don't want to stay in because I don't know if this is maybe like a spec set. Because a Specs Bug Buzz would just destroy me. So I was like, you know what, I can't stay in. And I'm going to go out and do a Araquanid. It's my best answer for this thing. Like, I don't think he's going to go for Energy Ball with the Deoxys staring him right in the face. Because even a Specs Energy Ball doesn't KO me. So, and if he does go for that, I can play around it. Like, I can go out into Silvally or something. And he goes for the Stun Spore and misses, which is kind of unfortunate for him. But he goes for it this turn and hits. And I'm just like, I'm going to take this as a chance to get my sticky webs up, but I get fully paralyzed. Next turn, we decided to do the exact same thing. He goes for a U-turn, does very little damage to me, and I get my sticky webs up. And here, I'm like, you know what? He goes out into Slowking. This thing can't really do anything to me. So I'm going to go ahead and just go for a Toxic, see if I can get it off on this thing. And that's what happens. I get a Toxic off on this thing as it teleports out. And that thing's weakened now. Now, Regenerator isn't nearly as good on that thing. It's still going to take damage whenever it comes in, which is really, really, really nice. As he goes right back out into Rebombi, I'm like, you know what? I think I'm just going to fire off a Scald here. If he wants to defog, he can defog. That's fine. He can't KO me. And I get fully paralyzed. But that's fine. I've still got my leftovers. I'm still getting healthy. I'm back to 100%. He goes for the Moonblast. We eat that. And we go right back for the Sticky Webs because I want webs up. He's trying to get rid of them, so that means that me having them up could be really, really important. And that means that it sells me on the idea that the Exodrill is scarfed in the back. So he goes for defog again. Here I'm just like, I'm going to go for a Scald, see if I can get some nice damage off on this thing. And we do, and that's a 2-hit KO. Unless I just got a really, really high roll, that's a 2-hit KO. So here, he goes for the U-turn again. I'm just like, I'm going to go ahead and go for another Sticky Web because I want those up as I get fully paralyzed again. And Wheezing coming in after he knows that I'm Scald is kind of confusing to me. Just because Wheezing has literally 0 special defense. So I'm assuming going into this interchange here that Scald is a 2-hit KO on Wheezing. Just because, like I said, Wheezing has, the special defenses of a wet paper bag. So I'm going to stay in. I'm going to try to get my webs back up as well, so that way Rebombi isn't. And so I get my webs up, and I'm just going to go ahead and fire off a Scald. Sludge Wave did 0 damage to me, and I can't be poisoned because I'm paralyzed. So I go for the Scald, and that's a really, really close to a 2-hit KO, 46%. And we snag the burn, which, because he's special, doesn't really do much. It just mitigates his leftovers, but still, we'll take that. And so I'm just like, I'm free. I'm just going to stay in and keep Scalding. And if he's going to give me this thing, then that's fantastic for me. And we get another Scald off. He goes down to 10%. And here, I'm still just like, you know what? I'm going to keep Scalding. If you're going to give me this, I'm going to take it. As he goes out into Alolan Exeggutor, he's Frisk, so we know he's not Harvest. We know he's not that annoying like Harvest Berry set, and we do very very little. So here I have to think really hard. It took me a while to make this decision because, like I said, I did very little to zero calcs for Alolan Exeggutor because I thought there was no way it was coming this week. I'm gonna take a drink real quick. So I was looking at my bonds and I was like, okay, what's the least important member of my team? And I was like, I looked at all the calcs. Like, I can't go Mamoswine or Deancey in case he goes for Leaf Storm. Same with Melmetal. Deoxys gets bopped by Leaf Storm or Draco. I don't want to leave Jitterbug in because I know it can come in and get webs back up later on either the Ribombee. It can come in on a lot of Mons and get webs back up if Ribombee defogs them away. So I was like, I think Silvally. I know Silvally can eat a Draco. It can eat a Leaf Storm. So Silvally gets to come in and it gets to do its thing as he just goes ahead and drops the Draco and does a big chunk of damage to me. Here, I'm like, I predicted him to switch out. I just go ahead and go for the parting shot, and he stayed in. That was a really, really confusing play. I thought he for sure he would switch out, because he didn't know maybe I had something like I could have been, for all he knew, I could have been the flame charge Swords Dance set again, and with him -2 special attack, but I just went for the parting shot. He stayed in. I'm like, I'm going to go out into Deoxys. He's -2 attack, special attack. He's going to be -3 by the time I parting shot out. I should be able to just do whatever I need to in front of this thing. And he goes for the Flamethrower, which does very, very little. And here, I decide I'm just going to go ahead and teleport out, see what he wants to go into. And I go out into Mamoswine. And I don't want him to... And I know that this forces him to switch out. He doesn't want to stay in and take an Earthquake or an Icicle Crash for me. So I know he's going to want to switch out, which leaves my webs up, which is what I really wanted. And he goes out into Slowking here, and I get an Earthquake off. And we can confirm that this thing is fully physically defensive. If he was specially defensive, that would have been an easy 2-hit KO, especially after Toxic. But we get to mitigate those that Regenerator. So we got 45% off on him. That means whenever next time he comes in, he's not coming in at full health, which is really, really nice. Here, I can't stay in. I go out into Araquanid as he makes a nice teleport play again. And he goes out into Gallade, which I thought was kind of a weird decision here. But here, I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to see what he wants. I'm gonna let him go for whatever he wants to go for. And I'm going to get a lunge off. And I don't get paralyzed. I get the lunge off. It does a nice chunk. And now this thing is really, really weakened. And he switches out, which really, if I thought he might take the KO, I go out into Deoxys, and here I make a pretty cool play. I know that if I click teleport, I know he can't really do much to me, and I know I'm faster, so I know that if I click teleport and I go first, I know that he clicked teleport. And I know that Slowking has been his answer to Mamoswine. So if I click teleport and I go first, I know that he's going for teleport and I can bring in Mamoswine for free. And he's going to have to bring in something that he does not want to bring in on it. So that's exactly what I do. I'm like, I'm going to go for teleport. I know that he's going to go for teleport after me, so I'm going to go Mamoswine. And he has to sack something here. Has no choice but to sack something here. And he goes out into Weezing, which is probably the smart play. And I know that Gallade at that health can't take a knockoff, so I'm just going to go for a knockoff. The only downside to this play is it does kind of invite in the Ribombee or the Alolan Exeggutor because they know he can live it. And now he knows that I'm Choice Scarf on this. I can't stay in. I have to go right back out into Silvally Grass as he makes a nice double into Ribombee. And so he does get the defog off, which is kind of unfortunate. But we go for the Thunder Wave here, which is really nice to paralyze this and then maybe give us an opportunity to get the webs back up in front of this later. Maybe it gets fully paralyzed or something. And I just go for a multi-attack. And we almost get the KO. We get close as it just goes for the U-turn. And it goes out into the Mega Gallade. And here I'm like, I don't want to let you set up for free. You have subs, so I'm assuming you have either Bulk Up or Swords Dance. I can't just let you set up, try to Parting Shot or Thunder Wave you. So I'm gonna go ahead and just go for the multi-attack, make you kill me, and Mega Metachamp, Mega Gallade gets the KO on Silvally. Silvally didn't really get to do that much. It ate a hit I needed it to, and it did weaken the Rabombi. So it didn't really get to do that much, but it still helped me get in position a couple times, which is nice. And so I go out to Deoxys, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and get off a nice Seismic Toss. He goes for Drain Punch. It does very little. It just enables him to live the Seismic Toss. And he goes for Knockoff as I go ahead and just go for the Recover, or I go for a Spike, I'm sorry. And then this turn I go for Recover, because I knew there was nothing he could go for that could kill me. So I'm just like, I'm going to go ahead and go for a Recover here. And so I was thinking about going for, I think I go for another Recover right here. I'm trying to get myself more healthy. Because I was like, you know what? If you're going to just keep knocking me off, I'll go ahead and get all three of my layers of spikes up, because you're not going to get enough health back on me to be able to live another Seismic Toss anytime soon. And I wanted to make sure I was out of crit range. So here I'm at full health. I'm like, okay, he's trying to bulk up. I need to shut this down. I need to go ahead and get the KO. I'll leave my one layer of spikes up. You know, that's nice. That's nice to have. That's another thing that can mitigate the Regenerator on Slowking. As he goes ahead and goes into Excadrill. I wanted to see what this thing could do to me. So I wanted to see what kind of set it was. Is it Adamant Scarf? Is it Band? You know, what kind of a set is it? So I go ahead and just get the Teleport off here. Eat the hit. That tells me that it is Jolly. I don't see a Life Orb. So I'm assuming this thing is Scarfed. And I know it's Scarfed into Earthquake. I'm going to take a drink real quick. And I know Mamoswine can live an Earthquake from a Scarf, Jolly, Scarf, Excadrill. So I go Mamoswine. I'm going to click my own Earthquake. His immunity to it is gone and wheezing. So I'm just going to go ahead and click Earthquake, get some nice damage off on whatever wants to come in. And Slowking comes in. It takes that spike. And we do a nice 37% to it. And after Toxic, it's down to 45%. And I know that after another Earthquake and round of Toxic, this thing is dead. But I didn't know if he was going to go for Scald this turn or not. I thought really hard about this play because he had gone for Teleport with this thing every other time that it came in. So I didn't know. I wanted to stay in, predicting him to go for the Teleport, but I was like, if he chooses now to go for the Scald, I could be in big trouble if this gets burned. And I'm like, I'm ahead right now, so I don't want to take the risk. So I just go ahead. I switch out into Deoxys. I know if he does go for the Scald, I'm faster than it. So the following turn, I can live that Scald. And the following turn, I can recover up and get more healthy. So he stays in, and he does go for the Scald. He doesn't get the KO. And I go ahead, I'm like, I can recover up, and that's exactly what happens here. I go ahead, recover up, and here, I know Rabombi can't really do anything to me. So I'm just like, I'm gonna go ahead and get myself super healthy, let myself recover. If he wants to go for the Stun Spore, he can go for the Stun Spore. The most damage he can do to me is Moonblast me, which I know with his spread doesn't do that much. He goes for the Stun Spore and misses, which is kind of unfortunate. I don't think it mattered at this point in the game. Excuse me. But it could have made things a little bit more difficult for me, going forward. We can, maybe would have given him some more RNG on his side potentially. And then this turn, I just go ahead. I'm full health. I thought about going for another spike, but I didn't want to let him play that RNG game with Stun Spore. So I'm like, I'm going to go ahead and just knock this thing out. As he goes into the Excadrill, which, again, kind of was a little bit of a confusing play to me. I thought he would go alone Executor here. So here I was thinking, okay, I know what health this Excadrill is at, and I would love to be able to lock my Mamoswine into knockoff if I can. So I knew I needed damage on this thing. So I was like, I need to stay in. I need to do some seismic tosses on this and see if I can get it weakened down. So he goes for Iron Head. So I'm like, okay, he's definitely Scarfed. He's locking himself into a move. And so he goes for Iron Head, and he's also fishing for flinches, and he gets a flinch first turn, which is kind of annoying. Second turn, Ironhead doesn't get the flinch. I get a nice S toss up. And here I don't want to keep playing the flinch game, so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and click teleport here. I'm sorry, I clicked S toss here. I thought I clicked teleport there, but I clicked S toss, and now I know he's definitely in range of whatever wants to come in revenge. But I'm like, you know what? Deoxys I can save Deoxys because Melmetal can come in on this Ironhead and sub up on it. So that's what I do. I go out into Melmetal. As he goes to the Ironhead, it does very little. I know I can get a sub up on this if he doesn't flinch me. And that's what I do. I go ahead and go for the sub as he brings in the Slow King. And I get to be behind a sub with a Slow King in front of me. So I know I can just sit here in front of it. He's not going to want to take this double Iron Bash. And he gets flinched. I don't know what he went for here. If he went for teleport here, he maybe could have worn this down by like switching it out, bringing it back in, making me do 2 more hits on it. But after toxic damage, like he didn't live any more hits from this. But I just go for the Earthquake here. I don't want to trigger the Rocky Helmet. And he goes here into the Alolan Executor to try and break. And he goes for a Flamethrower to break my sub, but we know that a double Iron Bash definitely KOs here. So we get a nice double Iron Bash. We KO the Executor. And I know that I live an Earthquake. I believe it's every time at this point. And so I'm free to just go ahead and go for the Earthquake. We eat the Earthquake from the Excadrill, which even if that was a roll, it didn't matter. I can just go Mamoswine the following turn and click double Iron Bash, which I don't know why I clicked that. I probably should have clicked Earthquake because double Iron Bash can miss. But Melmetal sweeps at the end, just cleans up the game, and we get another nice 5-0 win over another really, really good opponent. And we are at 2-0. We are off to a really, really good start. Couldn't ask for a much better start, realistically. GG's to Critic. That was a really close game. Again, it was closer than the final score, just like last week. You know, my Deoxys was really weakened. Melmetal, as you can see, is really weakened. Araquanid was really weakened. A few things here, a few things there. The game could have been very, very different. But even if, you know, a Melmetal and Deoxys and Araquanid go down, I believe between Mamoswine and Deancey, I had all the tools I needed to potentially win. But that was GG's. Next week we play Midi, and you know, Midi again is a really, really scary opponent. Our whole division is super scary. If you liked, please make sure you like and subscribe. Maybe leave a comment if you enjoyed. I'm gonna have links down in the description to all the other content creators in the WPF. So be sure you check all of them out. They are probably better than me, and they probably make better content than me. So go ahead and check them out, and we will catch you guys next time. Have a good one.